This section is called To Code or Not to Code. Now, when making apps, you can choose to code them yourself or you can pay people to code. I started out as an app developer, coding my Android apps from scratch. So you could say I've been in the trenches and I loved it. But I have to admit it was very difficult because when I started, there wasn't much documentation. So when you're trying to do something like share an image, I mean, it was an uphill battle. Nowadays, there's more information out there. You have courses on Udemy that teach you how to code. You can learn how to code anywhere. So basically, it depends on your personal preference. Now, if you are going to pay someone to code, I think that you can be very successful with that method because there's only so much coding one person can do. I mean, you can't sit there and code 5 apps at the same time and not expect to get them done in a good, timely fashion. But you can hire 5 different people and they can be building you 5 different apps simultaneously. So there's a lot of power in that. It's up to you to decide what you want to do, but I'll give you an example. A long time ago, when I was first deciding to outsource, I actually paid someone $25 to code a simple app for me. To share an image in this case, it was to share an image. Because, like I said, I could not figure it out. Like, there were so many things you had to do in the beginning of Android to even share an image. It wasn't smooth like iPhone. So basically, this guy did it in 2 days. And that app that he created, I went on to make 50 plus $1,000 off of a $25 investment. Now, I don't know what type of ideas you have, and your ideas may bear different types of fruit. I was lucky, I was trying something new, and then I had a little coding experience, so I can add in and make what he gave a little bit better. So it depends on your skill level, but it's definitely possible to save yourself a lot of time by hiring people. But you save yourself a lot of money by building it yourself. So it just depends what you want to do. I think try both. I mean, if you don't know how to code, don't feel bad. Hire someone. The site that I use to hire specifically, it used to be called Odesk, but now it's called Upwork. I really don't like that name. I liked Odesk, outsource desk. Upwork, I mean, I don't know. Is that a feel good name, I guess? Maybe it's a feel good name. Anyway, there's a lot of talent on there. But just like my previous section on good versus bad information, it also applies when you're dealing with contractors. There are people who are going to charge you a lot of money and give you nothing that works. There are people who will charge you a little and give you a lot. I say go for the happy medium. Go for someone who's going to charge you reasonably and at the same time they have a passion for their work, a true passion. You want someone who loves to code if you're going to hire someone. You want someone who just loves writing software day in and day out. I mean, they just love to solve problems. That's what you need. And if you're going to do it yourself, you have to have a passion for it. You have to really love it. You have to love to have a blank canvas and start coding and create something amazing. Create a new app that no one's ever thought of before, or create an app that's an upgrade on apps that are already existing. So it's pretty basic. Choose which direction you want to go in, try it out, keep trying, and don't give up. It wouldn't be fair of me to give you a case study where I paid a little and got a lot, and not also give you a compare or to compare it to something where I spent a lot and got basically nothing. So at some point I decided to do games. Everyone says money's in games. So I said, I'm going to try games. There is a lot of money in it. However, it is very expensive to build games unless you're building them yourself because of the time involved. So when I decided, hey, I'm going to try games, I followed my own advice, got quality people, and I started building the game. And the problem is the budget was always so high. And that's something I wouldn't have known before getting into trying to do game development. It's like the budget can run out of control really quick. The first game I released, it didn't really do well. I think I spent a little over 1,000, maybe $1,500 building that one. It didn't do well. It was an okay game, but there were things that were missing, obviously, because if they were there, it would have been more successful. But I still was proud of it. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm going to try this again. So later on, I tried building another game. I said, I'm going to make an action platformer. I had an amazing artist. I had a amazing coder who used to work at Microsoft. I'm like, I'm going to do this. But once again, failure set in. The reason this time was that the artist was too greedy. He wanted industry Nintendo prices for his work. And so we could never get to a minimal viable product because the budget was always ballooning because of my artist. And then on top of that, he didn't really have the experience of building graphic assets for games. He had the quality, but not the experience. So everything took longer. So then he just charged more and more and more. And the project just never got released. I had to cut my losses because it was already 3 or 4 times what the first game cost me. So I said, I just got to stop. As much as I want to build this game, as amazing as the graphics look, I mean, we even had prototypes where, the character was running and shooting and we were working on bosses. I just had to cut my losses. I had to. I even had a soundtrack created. I mean, I was going all out for this game, but I had to cut my losses. Now you could say maybe I didn't have a passion for building games. I sure have a passion for playing games, but maybe I didn't have a passion for building games. But I think the problem was I was still making money with my regular apps. And this money that I'm pouring into these games was me trying something new. And it just didn't make any sense. I have apps that take a minimal amount of time to produce, and I'm making money. And then I have these games that are literally sucking me dry like a vampire, and I'm making no money. So it was a no brainer. I cut my losses. Sometimes you got to. So at the end of the day, it's all up to you whether you want to code or not. My advice: try one, see if it works. Try the other, see if it works. Try both simultaneously, see if it works for you. Because everyone is an individual. And something that may work for you may not work for me because of the type of apps I make. So just try it out. But stay positive. Don't get discouraged because it is very easy to get discouraged when making apps. Trust me.